Yo, what is going on, you guys? This is GamingWithsal and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I want to go ahead and basically talk about a topic that I've touched upon before here on the channel, as well as other YouTubers too, and that is the idea of Call of Duty becoming free to play. Now, most people who have covered this topic before in their videos or have discussed about it with other members of the COD community came to the conclusion that if Call of Duty became free to play, that it would be a great move on Activision's part and will benefit the franchise so much more. And even more people started to agree with this more than ever before after some information was released not too long ago thanks to a Reddit user by the name of Cali9, who basically put together estimates of the player count for each Call of Duty starting from COD Ghosts all the way to Black Ops 4. And I'll go ahead and put this information up on the screen for you guys to take a look at as well. And as you guys can see, some titles within the Call of Duty franchise have either suffered or have done really well for themselves. However, when you take a look at something like Black Ops 4, it definitely does look concerning at first glance, because according to this graph, Black Ops 4 has approximately only 9.8 million players as the global count. Now, even though that's a large number by itself, it's still significantly small in comparison to some of the previous COD titles that have released before BO4, according to this graph once again. But personally, what I have to say about this is that I don't really think that this is a bad thing, because there are a lot of other things that we need to consider before making any final judgments of this information. Number one, this information was taken by the data that was provided before the holiday season even started in the month of December. The Reddit user did go ahead and mention a few things that he or she wanted to go ahead and share in regards to their information possibly being slightly inaccurate, and one of the things that were mentioned was that the information seen on this graph was only taken from data that was available from November 20th to December 4th of this year, meaning we don't know how much the numbers have increased for Black Ops 4 after the holiday season has kicked in. And we also know that in the month of December, sales go up literally left and right, and more gamers who are part of the Call of Duty community end up buying the newest COD title in this month as well. And this usually ends up being a large amount of people. I mean, where else did the term Christmas noobs come from, right? Another thing to also keep in mind is that we also don't know if these numbers are representing players who actually launched the game and played it, or just simply installed it only. So as an example, just because a game such as Black Ops 3 has 54.7 million players according to this chart doesn't mean that every single one of these players guaranteed launched the game entirely. So overall, who knows? These estimates could be accurate, even though the Reddit user themselves have mentioned that it could be inaccurate for several different reasons. But regardless, it still has only been 2 months since the game launched, and the numbers we see for BO4 are still technically impressive in comparison to the titles such as Modern Warfare Remastered, Ghosts, and Infinite Warfare, once again referring back to the chart that we just saw a few minutes ago. Until I see these estimates being updated after Black Ops 4's life cycle is over, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions on whether this number is a bad thing or not, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like it's headed in the direction of failure, at least to me. But what does this all have to do with me talking about Call of Duty being free to play? Well, as they once said before, the numbers don't lie. And if we go ahead and assume the information on this graph is pretty close to accurate, Black Ops 3 already proved the potential for Call of Duty to be even more successful than it already is if it was free to play. Because if you guys didn't know already, Black Ops 3 was the only Call of Duty title for the current generation consoles, aka the PS4 and Xbox One, that went free to play from June 12th to July 11th of this year for PS Plus members, and that it is most likely the reason why you see a huge spike in BO3's number on the chart. The amount of people who decided to hop back onto Black Ops 3 because of the fact that it didn't cost them anything not only made people who knew about Call of Duty but didn't purchase the game try it out, but it also invited new players to the franchise as well, maybe players who either have never tried Call of Duty before, or maybe people who have given up on the franchise or are nervous to get into the Call of Duty franchise. Whatever the case might be, they all probably wanted to give it another chance, and they went ahead and did so because of the fact that it was for free. By making Call of Duty free, Activision can open the doors for so many players who have never engaged with the Call of Duty franchise before, and potentially increase their fan base at a very fast rate and make it larger than it ever was before in the history of this franchise's existence. Plus, with the game being for free, people wouldn't mind paying for add-ons such as map packs, or maybe pay extra money to get special bundles of the game that would be nowhere as costly as the bundles we see today. Maybe players who never thought about buying Call of Duty points might actually even do that, since they saved the $60 that they would have had to pay for the game if it wasn't for free. So basically, all of this sounds great, right? The idea of Call of Duty being for free is probably the best thing that can happen, but in my opinion, I don't agree with this, at least not completely. And let me go ahead and explain why. The reason why I'm not agreeing with most other YouTubers who 100% support this idea is because we can't forget about the fact that even if Call of Duty becomes free at one point, or maybe DLCs become free, whatever it might be, we are still dealing with a company like Activision. I mean, just imagine this just for a second. Take a look at what's going on with the black market in BO4 as of today. We have an Ultimus Takia skin in Blackjack's shop for the Blackout game mode that's currently only going for 400 COD points after Treyarch went ahead and introduced a 50% off sale on all items in the shop. First off, the skin originally costed 800 COD points, which is equal to about $8 in the beginning of this week, and now towards the end of the week, when the skin has only about 1 to 2 days left of being in the shop, it becomes 50% off along with other items that are also in Blackjack's shop. This is a huge middle finger to everyone who decided to buy Takia before the sale went up when he costed 800 COD points, because imagine all those people who were probably debating to buy Takia and then decided to be like, you know what, screw it, I'll buy him. After thinking about it a lot, only to eventually see that he became cheaper towards the end of him being in Blackjack's shop for the week. I don't even need to go into any more detail of why that's such a messed up situation. And not to mention, can we all agree about one thing here? This is a first-person shooter. First person, meaning we can only see our hands or our character's hands when we're actually playing the game. The only time we can actually see our character completely is whenever we enable in-game gestures or maybe ride vehicles like the ATV in the Blackout mode. And no, I'm not saying that just because BO4 is a first-person shooter that we shouldn't have character skins. No, not at all. I actually think it's a really cool idea how they made past Black Ops characters the skins for Blackout. But what I don't find cool or acceptable is how they're costing as much as $8 per skin. I personally think that these skins shouldn't cost more than maybe like $2 to $3 max. And after hearing something like that, some people might even be like, you know what, that's a little too cheap. But I disagree, because there used to be a time where everything was pretty much free and not filled with microtransactions, or you had to complete in-game challenges to earn those items. And if you're gonna go ahead and charge players today for stuff like this, at least make it reasonable. Even though I still wouldn't agree with the price completely, $8 would have made more sense to me if Blackout was a third-person game, but it's a first-person game. So $8 for a character skin and an FPS, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, we don't even have a system such as armory credits like we did in World War II or parts in Modern Warfare Remastered here in Black Ops 4, where we can actually go ahead and use those in-game currencies that are earned by just playing the game to buy simple things like camos, weapon charms, face paints, etc. And now the only way to get our hands on those kinds of customization items in Black Ops 4 are to spend real life money, and that's it. And they're doing this with the reality that they're charging players $60 on top of all of this and still charging for something like a season pass as well. Just imagine if they can rip off players this badly already and charging them as much as they do, what's gonna happen if the game went for free to play? How crazy can these microtransactions actually get if that was the case? Because you already know how Activision are like, and not trying to throw hate at them or anything like that. They're a business, so all businesses do this, but they're gonna want to make more money than they did the year before and the year before that and the year before that. So if they ever do make Call of Duty for free, the amount of microtransactions they'll pump into that game will be the most we've ever seen before. And I already know some people are gonna come out and say, well, hey, at least they didn't put a price tag in front of the new weapons that they just added into the game, and you can still play the game and earn them. Plus, no one is forcing you to buy the stuff they add into the Blackjack shop because they're only customization items anyways. And my response to that, as well as a way for me to close out this video, is that to a certain extent that statement is true, but the fact that it's somewhat true is why and how Activision is even taking advantage of that sort of mentality. They take items that they know people would want, such as Takia, Richtofen, etc., and put a price tag in front of them. Yeah, I don't need to buy Richtofen or Takia or any sort of item that seems to grab my attention since it's cosmetic only, but it takes away from my experience. It's like going into a store as a child with your parents and seeing your favorite toy on the shelf and asking your parents if you can buy it, but your parents respond back by saying no because it's something they can't afford at the moment and it's something you don't need in your life. Rather, it's something you just want to have. And even though that statement is true, it's no lie that you would end up walking out of that store sad and disappointed to where maybe even your entire day would go downhill. And that's how it's like sort of here in Black Ops 4. I don't need these items, but sometimes I would want them after I go ahead and take a look at what items there are to offer. But it sure does bring my mood down to know that the only way I can get them is to pay more money on top of what I've already paid for the game, and that's just a huge bummer. Once again, I'm not hating towards Activision, I'm not. I mean, it's a business. They're gonna hustle to make as much money as they can, but it just really sucks how it's taking away my experience from the game. But overall, you guys, these are some of the points that I wanted to share with you guys on why I believe that Call of Duty becoming free could just be as bad for the franchise as it could be good. So with that said, I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about the idea of Call of Duty becoming free after maybe listening to a video like this? Should it be free or stay the way that it is right now? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below and let me know if you guys are also like me, who are just stuck in the middle and don't really know which side to choose. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe, click the bell icon so you'll never miss an upload, and follow me on my social media accounts to stay connected. Links will always be in the description below, and we'll go ahead and talk to you guys in the next one. So take care of yourselves and bye.